The doctors had been crystal clear. Hyunwoo's body would never work that way again. Sterile, numb, completely shut down after the accident that nearly killed him 3 years ago. Yet here he sat, Seoul's most feared underworld king, feeling his pulse accelerate and something stirred deep within him that shouldn't be possible. All because of her, Zara Johnson, the Kenyan goddess moving across his stage like water finding its way home. He claimed her that very first night. And when some fool reached out to grab her during her performance, Hyunwoo made certain that man would never reach for anything again. Touch her and die, he'd warned the entire club. But someone was foolish enough to test him anyway. Stay until the very end to discover where this explosive romance takes them. Welcome back, friends. This is Prince of Afro-Korean stories, where passion, danger, and impossible romance intersect. Please keep sharing your ideas for future episodes, and kindly like, share, and subscribe, and activate notifications so you never miss our latest content. Hyunwoo's fingers dug into the velvet armrests until the fabric threatened to tear. This can't be happening. His breathing became shallow, his chest constricting as if invisible bands were tightening around his lungs. His heart pounded so violently he thought it might burst through his ribcage. And below his waist, impossible sensations were awakening, heat spreading through regions the medical team had declared permanently inactive. Director Park, his most trusted lieutenant, noticed immediately. "Sir, you're sweating. Your color's off. Do you need medical attention?" Hyunwoo couldn't form words. His entire being was fixated on the woman commanding the stage with effortless grace, Zara Johnson. He'd already committed her profile to memory from the employee files Manager Lee had presented hours earlier. She wasn't performing like the others who mechanically went through practiced routines with hollow expressions. This woman moved as though dancing was her native tongue, as though her body was having a conversation with the universe. Those curves, the strength in her thighs, the way her hips rolled with ancestral rhythm, all of it made his throat go dry. She wove traditional Kenyan movements into contemporary choreography, her form speaking of homeland, while embracing this strange new country. The amber lighting illuminated her deep brown skin beautifully. When her gaze swept over the VIP area and connected with his, lightning coursed through his entire body. He rose without warning, causing his security team to instantly go on high alert. Get me everything on her address, her background, whether she's got problems, whether anyone's giving her trouble, all of it. Boss, she's only a performer. She's not only anything, Hyunwoo's tone turned lethal. And if I catch you diminishing her value again, you and I will have serious issues. The following morning found Hyunwoo in his executive suite, studying the dossier his team had assembled. Zara Johnson, 24 years old, originally from Nairobi, Kenya, working in Korea under a 6-month visa, wiring funds back home for her ailing mother's treatments, living in a modest E-1 flat with her roommate Amara. No criminal history, currently single, no problematic associations. Never been intimate with anyone, the file indicated. Information extracted from her former partner's bitter online complaints about her being too old-fashioned. Something fierce and territorial roared inside Hyunwoo's chest. Perfect. She'd never belonged to anyone. When he claimed her and claiming her was inevitable, he would be her beginning and her ending. His device vibrated, his mother calling again. He declined it. For years she'd been pressuring him toward matrimony, introducing him to eligible Korean women from prestigious families, women who left him feeling absolutely nothing, women who might as well have been furniture. Until Zara. That night, Hyunwoo positioned himself at the primary VIP station, positioned close enough to observe every nuance of Zara's artistry. She appeared startled to find him there again, her flow stuttering momentarily when their eyes connected, though she recovered beautifully, infusing extra passion into her movements. Hyunwoo found himself wondering if she was dancing specifically for him now. Midway through her routine, an intoxicated executive lurched toward the platform, his hand stretching toward her ankle. Hyunwoo reacted before his bodyguards could intervene. He seized the drunk's wrist, applying pressure until cartilage snapped audibly. The man's shriek pierced through the music. Silence descended over the entire venue. Zara went completely still on stage, shock evident in her wide eyes. Hyunwoo's voice could have frozen fire. What belongs to me stays untouched. I had no idea, the drunk sobbed. Please, Mr. Kwan, I swear I didn't realize she was under your claim. Now everyone knows. Spread the word, she's protected by me. Anyone who violates that loses considerably more than bones. He released the whimpering man, who scrambled away clutching his damaged hand. The music resumed. Every other patron suddenly became intensely interested in their beverages, refusing to even glance toward the stage. Zara, magnificent and furious, stormed off the platform. Hyunwoo pursued her into the back corridor, gently catching her wrist before she could push past him. The contact sent electricity racing up his arm, and he noticed her shiver in response. She experienced it too, this magnetic pull connecting them. What right do you have, she challenged, her accent pronounced with emotion. Do you realize what you've done? That man's associates will file complaints, and I'll be terminated. Your employment is secure. This establishment belongs to me. Her eyes went wide. You own what? Club Euphoria is mine. 4 additional venues throughout Gangnam as well. You want to continue dancing? Go ahead, but nobody lays a hand on you, nobody gets within reach. I'll quadruple your compensation, handle all your living expenses, and you'll never deal with inappropriate patrons again. I don't require your protection or your finances. But even as she protested, he could read the exhaustion etched into her features. The burden of her mother's mounting hospital bills. The strain of surviving in unfamiliar territory. Perhaps you don't require it, he said quietly, moving closer until her perfume reached him, something floral and unfamiliar. But I require the ability to provide it. From the instant you took that stage, something dormant inside me reactivated. Something I believed had died permanently. I can't rationalize it, but I understand I'll do anything necessary to ensure your safety. Zara's anger wavered. Up close, this dangerous man appeared almost fragile. His eyes contained depths of pain and isolation that mirrored her own. You're completely insane. Probably. Join me for dinner regardless. Why would I dine with someone who breaks people's hands? Because you're equally curious about me. I recognize it in your expression. You experienced that connection when our eyes met on stage. You felt it moments ago when I touched you. Have dinner with me, Zara. Allow me to demonstrate I'm more than the monster people assume I am. She should have refused. Everything about Kwon Hyunwoo screamed catastrophe, but something in his voice, in the way he regarded her as though she were oxygen and he was suffocating, compelled her to agree. 1 meal. You're paying, and it better be extravagant. His smile completely transformed his features. I'll collect you tomorrow evening at 7. The next evening, Hyunwoo arrived at Zara's building driving a sleek Mercedes, carrying King Proteus, Kenyan flowers he'd arranged to have specially imported. When she appeared wearing a simple dress that accentuated her figure, his heart performed that impossible feat again, racing, pounding, reminding him he was alive. You're stunning, he breathed. You're trouble, she countered, eyeing his designer suit and the obvious protection detail. He escorted her to a private dining room at Seoul's most prestigious restaurant, where they shared food and conversation for hours. She described Nairobi, growing up performing in public spaces, her mother's declining health, and her aspirations of establishing a dance academy. He found himself revealing things too, about the isolation that came with power, the loneliness of his position, the crushing weight of familial obligations. Why operate a nightclub if you're so powerful, she inquired. Because I appreciate witnessing people discover happiness, moving, celebrating, temporarily escaping their burdens. It's my only legitimate enterprise. And the illegitimate enterprises? Things you shouldn't know about, things I'd never allow to touch you. Over the following weeks, they developed a pattern. Hyunwoo attended each of Zara's performances, occupying the front VIP section with that intense focus that made her skin heat. Afterward, they'd share late dinners where she educated him about Kenyan culture, and he taught her Korean expressions. He showered her with gifts, elegant clothing, fine jewelry, anything that caught her attention for more than a moment. You're attempting to purchase me, she accused one evening. I'm attempting to indulge you. There's a distinction. You work relentlessly, Zara. You send every cent home. Let me care for you occasionally. Her roommate Amara warned her over morning coffee. That man is lethal, Zara. I've made inquiries. People claim Hyunwoo eliminated 17 men during a territorial conflict last year. He's not someone to take lightly. He's tender with me, Zara defended. Though uncertainty crept in, she'd glimpsed his darkness, how his subordinates jumped at his slightest command, the deference everyone displayed, the barely hidden weapons his guards carried. That evening, she brought him homemade Kenyan cuisine, nyama choma, ugali, and sukuma wiki. They ate in her cramped apartment, knees bumping under the small table, and something shifted between them. The atmosphere became charged with unspoken yearning. "Let me prepare food for you next time," Hyunwoo suggested. "Visit my residence." A week later, Zara stood in Hyunwoo's penthouse, absolutely stunned. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing Seoul's spectacular skyline, marble surfaces, artwork worthy of galleries. "You occupy this space alone?" "It's been empty," he acknowledged, heading toward the kitchen. Until recently, she observed him preparing traditional Korean dishes, surprisingly domestic in his sophisticated kitchen. When he removed his jacket and rolled up his sleeves, exposing muscular forearms, her mouth went dry. He moved with economical precision, slicing ingredients and managing pots with the same intensity he brought to everything. "You're watching me," he said without turning. "Perhaps you're worth observing." He turned then, something dark and hungry flashing across his features. He moved around the counter until he stood close enough that she could sense his warmth, smell his cologne, something expensive and masculine that made her dizzy. "Zara." Her name on his lips sounded sacred. "I need you to comprehend something. You're not a temporary diversion. You're not entertainment. From the moment I encountered you, something in me recognized you. My heart began functioning again. My body returned to life. Medical professionals claimed it was impossible, but you made it possible. You're my miracle." "Hyunwoo, He cupped her face, his thumb caressing her cheek with reverent gentleness. "I love you. I've loved you from that initial night, and I need you to understand. I'll safeguard you. I'll cherish you. I'll offer you everything if you permit me, but I'm also territorial and possessive, and I'll eliminate anyone who attempts to harm you. I need you to comprehend what you're entering before this progresses further." Her heart hammered. "What if I'm already too far in?" His kiss answered, gentle initially, exploratory, then deeper, more urgent. Years of loneliness poured into how his hands gripped her waist, into how she threaded her fingers through his hair, into the small sounds they both made when the kiss ended, and they pressed their foreheads together, breathing heavily. "Stay tonight," he whispered. Fear and desire battled in Zara's chest. She'd never been with a man. Her ex-boyfriend David had abandoned her because she'd refused intimacy, calling her backwards and cold. But this felt different. Hyunwoo felt different. She couldn't complete the sentence. Understanding dawned in his eyes, followed by what looked like wonder. "You've never been with anyone," she nodded, heat flooding her face. "My ex left because I wouldn't. I wanted it to be meaningful, but now I'm 24 and perhaps I was foolish to wait." "You weren't foolish," Hyunwoo's voice was fierce. "You were waiting for someone deserving of you, someone who would treat you like the precious gift you are." "Allow me to be that person, Zara. Let me show you how it should be." He carried her to his bedroom, placing her on silk sheets with heartbreaking tenderness. What followed was slow and overwhelming. Hyunwoo treated her like something holy, whispering Korean endearments she couldn't translate but felt in her soul. He took his time, ensuring she felt secure, cherished, worshipped. When he finally joined their bodies, the sensation was intense, a brief flash of discomfort that melted into something profound. For Hyunwoo, it was rebirth. Everything functioned flawlessly, better than it ever had before his injury. With Zara, he wasn't damaged. He was complete. Afterward, wrapped in his embrace with her head on his chest, Zara felt his heart beating steady and strong. "The doctors genuinely said you were sterile." "They claimed many things, that my heart was too compromised, that I'd never experience sensation below my waist again, that I should accept a partial existence." He kissed her forehead. "They were mistaken. I simply needed you." But as Hyunwoo slept, old terrors invaded Zara's mind. Her father had vanished when she was 7. David had left when she wouldn't comply. Men always abandoned her. Now that Hyunwoo had obtained what he wanted, would he lose interest? In the pre-dawn darkness, she dressed silently and departed, her heart shattering with each step. Hyunwoo woke to emptiness and terror. He called her device. No response. He dispatched his team to her apartment. She wasn't there. For 6 hours, he searched Seoul frantically, his carefully maintained composure cracking. His men had never witnessed their boss like this, frantic, desperate, his hands trembling as he dialed her number for the 100th time. He finally located her at a park near her apartment, sitting on a bench, weeping. Relief and hurt collided in his chest. "Why did you leave?" His voice broke. Zara looked up, tears streaming. "Because I assumed you'd leave first. Everyone always abandons me, Hyunwoo. My father, my ex-boyfriend. I give them everything and they vanish. I couldn't survive waiting for you to grow bored, so I left before you could." Hyunwoo dropped to his knees on the damp grass, taking her hands in his. "I would never abandon you. Last night wasn't merely physical, Zara. It was about finally feeling complete after 3 years of being hollow inside. You resurrected me. You're not someone I could ever walk away from. You're why my heart beats. You truly mean that. I love you. I'll love you until my final breath and probably beyond. Come home with me. Let me spend every day proving I'll never leave." She returned home with him, and for the next month they existed in blissful happiness. Zara refused to immediately relocate to his penthouse. She needed to preserve some autonomy. So Hyunwoo appeared at her cramped apartment with his possessions instead. "What are you doing?" she demanded as his security team transported expensive luggage. "If you won't come to me, I'll come to you." Amara watched in disbelief. "This man is legitimately insane." "Insane about your friend," Hyunwoo agreed cheerfully. Living together in her tiny space was chaotic. Hyunwoo's large frame barely fit on her couch. His security team had to rotate shifts in the corridor, but he adapted, assisting with household tasks, learning to navigate her small kitchen. One evening, she discovered him cooking shirtless, steam rising around his sculpted frame, and nearly forgot how to breathe. He caught her staring and grinned. "Enjoying the view? Shut up and feed me." But the fantasy couldn't last forever. Reality intruded 2 weeks later when David appeared at her apartment door. Zara's ex-boyfriend from Nairobi stood there, all apologies and charm. "Baby, I made a mistake. We always reconcile, remember? I shouldn't have pressured you. I was immature, but we're destined to be together." Hyunwoo appeared behind Zara, shirtless from his morning workout, and the hallway temperature dropped dramatically. "Who are you? Who are you?" David countered, his eyes taking in Hyunwoo's obvious presence in Zara's life. "I'm the man who received what you never deserved," Hyunwoo said coldly. "Now leave." Understanding and rage flashed across David's face. "You slept with him after refusing me for 2 years. I begged you, Zara. I said I loved you." "You loved what you wanted from me," Zara said firmly, stepping forward. "Hyunwoo loves me. There's a difference. Now leave before this becomes violent." After David left, Hyunwoo pulled her close. "I nearly killed him. I know. Your hand was reaching for the weapon. I saw. Nobody disrespects you in my presence and survives to discuss it." His possessiveness should have frightened her, but it made her feel valued instead, protected, treasured in ways she'd never experienced. But the real challenge came 3 weeks later. Zara was performing at the club when Hyunwoo entered with a beautiful Korean woman on his arm. The woman clung to him, laughing at something he said, her hand resting on his chest with familiar intimacy. Zara's heart shattered. She forced herself to continue dancing, but her movements were mechanical, distracted. She kept glancing at the VIP section where Hyunwoo sat with the mystery woman, her stomach churning with jealousy and betrayal. But Hyunwoo's eyes never left Zara. He watched her with that same intense focus, completely ignoring his companion. The woman seemed increasingly frustrated by his lack of attention, her touches becoming more obvious, more desperate. After her set, Zara tried to escape to the dressing room, but Hyunwoo caught her in the back corridor. His hands came up to bracket the wall beside her, caging her in. "You're jealous," he observed, something satisfied and primal in his voice. "I am not," he kissed her hard, claiming, his body pressing against hers until she could feel every inch of him. When they broke apart, both breathing heavily, he cupped her face. "That woman is Soyeon, my cousin from Busan. She wanted to see the famous club and meet the woman who has me completely captivated. I brought her to test something. Test what? Zara's voice was breathless. Whether you're as possessive about me as I am about you. Judging by the fire in your eyes when you saw us together, I'd say you are. You love me, Zara. Admit it. I hate you for making me jealous. No, you don't. You love me. Say it. I love you, she whispered. God help me, I love you so much it terrifies me. Then move into my penthouse officially. Be mine completely. Let me put a ring on your finger and make certain every man in Seoul knows you're taken. A ring. Eventually, when you're ready. But first move in with me, please. She did. The penthouse became their sanctuary, a space where Zara could dance in the private studio Hyunwoo had constructed for her, where they cooked together and laughed together and made love like the outside world didn't exist. But the world did exist, and it came crashing down a month later. Hyunwoo's parents requested a formal meeting. His mother and father sat in the penthouse living room, their expressions arctic as they regarded Zara. A foreign exotic dancer, his mother said, each word dripping with contempt. Hyunwoo, you're the heir to our family empire. This girl is completely unacceptable. Zara is not this girl, Hyunwoo said coldly. She's the woman I love, the woman who restored my life. She's educated, talented, and possesses more grace than anyone in your social circles. She performs for money in revealing clothing. She's an artist who dances exclusively for me now. She quit the club. She's my personal dancer, my personal everything. And if you can't respect her, you can exit. His father attempted diplomacy. Son, be reasonable. Different cultures, different expectations. This won't succeed long term. Then I'll ensure it succeeds. I'm going to marry her with or without your approval. Zara's head snapped toward him. They'd never discussed marriage. Hyunwoo took her hand, intertwining their fingers. If you can't accept her, don't attend the wedding. His parents departed in furious silence. Zara turned to Hyunwoo, overwhelmed. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You're my future, Zara. They'll come around or they won't. Either way, you're mine. But family drama was nothing compared to what came next. The Red Vipers, a rival organization Hyunwoo had been feuding with for years, identified an opportunity. They'd heard about the Kenyan girlfriend, about Hyunwoo's unprecedented obsession with a foreign dancer. It started with threats, messages left at the club, warnings delivered by frightened intermediaries. Hyunwoo increased security around Zara, assigning bodyguards to follow her everywhere. I can't live like this, she protested. I feel imprisoned. It's temporary. Once I handle the Red Vipers, things will normalize. But things didn't normalize. They escalated. One morning, Amara didn't appear for breakfast. Zara called her device repeatedly. No answer. When she went to Amara's room, it was empty, signs of a struggle evident. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. The text message was simple. Exchange yourself for your friend. Come to the abandoned warehouse in Yongsan alone. You have 2 hours or we start sending pieces of her to your boyfriend. Zara's blood ran cold. She should have contacted Hyunwoo immediately, but the message was explicit. Come alone or Amara dies. She couldn't risk her best friend's life. She slipped past the bodyguard in the lobby, taking a taxi to the address. The warehouse was deserted, eerily quiet. She stepped inside, her heart pounding. Hello, Miss Johnson. A man emerged from the shadows, middle-aged, scar bisecting his right cheek, eyes cold as death. I'm Choi Sung, leader of the Red Vipers. You're remarkably brave to come alone. Where's Amara? Unharmed for now. You see, Kwon Hyunwoo has been interfering with my operations for years. He controls territory that belongs to me. He's cost me revenue, respect, soldiers. I've attempted everything to break him. Violence, intimidation, business interference. Nothing succeeds. But then I learned about you, the foreign dancer who brought Seoul's Ice King to his knees. I realized the way to destroy Hyunwoo isn't through his empire, it's through his heart. Terror shot through Zara. He'll kill you for this. He'll attempt to, but by the time he locates us, I'll have already won. You see, I'm going to hurt you, not kill you. That would be too merciful. I'm going to break you in ways that will haunt him forever. Every time he looks at you, he'll remember he failed to protect you. It will destroy him slowly from within. And when he's vulnerable, hollow with guilt, I'll take everything he has. Zara's legs trembled, but she kept her voice steady. You underestimate him. Hyunwoo isn't a man who breaks. He's a man who incinerates the world when you touch what's his. Choi Sung smiled. Then let's see how much of the world he's willing to incinerate for you. Meanwhile, at the penthouse, Hyunwoo had returned home to an empty apartment and a missing bodyguard. Panic seized him immediately. He checked every room, called Zara's phone. It rang unanswered on the kitchen counter. Her purse was there, her keys were there, but she was gone. Find her, he barked into his phone, his voice shaking. Lock down the city, check every camera, every witness. I want her location in the next 10 minutes, or people will die. Director Park's voice was grim. Boss, Amara is missing too. And we just received intel. The Red Vipers have been active in Yongsan. Hyunwoo's blood turned to ice. Mobilize every man we have. Everyone. If they've touched her, if they've so much as breathed on her, I'll paint Seoul red with their blood. He was already moving, grabbing weapons, his mind fracturing with fear. The woman he loved, the miracle who'd resurrected him, was in enemy hands, and he'd sworn to protect her. He'd vowed nothing would ever harm her. He'd failed. The drive to Yongsan was a blur. Hyunwoo arrived with 50 armed men surrounding the warehouse. His hands shook as he loaded his weapon, not from fear for himself, but from absolute terror for Zara. Inside the warehouse, Choi Sung had been taunting Zara for the past hour. He hadn't harmed her yet. He was savoring the psychological torture, the anticipation, but when gunfire erupted outside, his expression changed. He's here sooner than anticipated, Choi said, pulling a weapon. Time to send him a message. He aimed at Zara's leg. Before he could pull the trigger, the warehouse doors exploded inward. Hyunwoo stood there, backlit by flames from burning vehicles outside, looking like an avenging angel of death. His men poured in, engaging Choi's soldiers, but Hyunwoo only had eyes for Zara. He crossed the warehouse in seconds, cutting down anyone who stood between them. When Choi tried to use Zara as a shield, Hyunwoo shot him in the shoulder without hesitation. You touched her. Hyunwoo's voice was dead calm, which somehow made it more terrifying. You threatened her. You made her afraid. For that, you don't receive a quick death. The next 5 minutes were brutal. Hyunwoo dismantled Choi Sung methodically, each injury precise, calculated to cause maximum pain. His men found Amara locked in a back room, terrified but unharmed. The Red Vipers who hadn't fled were executed on sight. When it was over, Hyunwoo's hands were covered in blood. He went to Zara, who sat in shock against the warehouse wall. Are you hurt? Did they touch you, Zara? Talk to me. She looked at him. This man who'd just killed for her, who'd brought an army to rescue her, whose hands shook as he checked her for injuries. I'm okay, Hyunwoo. He pulled her into his arms, and she felt him trembling. I almost lost you. I promised to protect you, and I almost lost you. You saved me. You came for me. I'll always come for you. Always. Do you understand? You're my heart, Zara. Without you, I'm just a dead man walking. The aftermath was intense. The Red Vipers were effectively destroyed. Those who survived fled Seoul. Hyunwoo's reputation as someone not to be crossed was cemented. But more importantly, he became infamous for his devotion to the Kenyan dancer who'd captured his heart. 2 weeks later, after the trauma had begun to fade, Zara noticed something unusual. She was exhausted constantly. Her breasts were tender. And when she couldn't keep down breakfast 3 days in a row, realization dawned. She purchased a pregnancy test with shaking hands. When the positive result appeared, she sank to the bathroom floor crying. It should have been impossible. Hyunwoo was supposed to be sterile. Hyunwoo found her there. Zara, what's wrong? She couldn't speak, just held up the test. Hyunwoo stared at it, his expression unreadable. Then his knees buckled and he dropped beside her. Is this real? The doctors were wrong. Or you're my miracle too. Either way, she touched her stomach. We're having a baby, Hyunwoo. He laughed, a sound of pure, unrestrained joy. He pulled her into his arms, kissing her face, her hair, her stomach. You've given me everything, my heart, my body, my life, and now a child. Zara, you're my miracle. You're my entire world." That evening, Hyunwoo took her back to Club Euphoria, the place where their story began. He'd rented the entire venue, filling it with king proteas and roses, candles and lights. In the center of the stage where she'd first captured his attention, he got down on one knee. "Zara Johnson, you walked into my life and resurrected a dead man. You gave me love when I thought I'd never feel again. You gave me hope, purpose, and now a child I never dreamed I'd have. I know I'm possessive, dangerous, and not always easy to love, but I'll worship you every day for the rest of our lives. Will you marry me?" The ring was stunning, but Zara barely saw it. She was focused on his face, on the vulnerability and love shining in his eyes. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. 3 months later, they married in a ceremony that blended both cultures. Zara wore a dress that accommodated her growing belly, fusion of Kenyan prints and Korean silk. Hyunwoo looked devastating in his tailored suit, and when they exchanged vows, he cried. His parents attended, having slowly accepted Zara after learning about the baby. His mother even apologized, admitting she'd been wrong to judge. 6 months later, their daughter arrived during a rainy Seoul night. Hyunwoo, usually so controlled, panicked completely, driving to the hospital himself and breaking every traffic law. In the delivery room, he held Zara's hand, whispering encouragement in Korean. When Gia finally arrived, perfect blend of both parents with Zara's skin and Hyunwoo's eyes, he sobbed. "She's perfect, like her mother." 1 year later, Zara stood in their penthouse, watching Hyunwoo play with their daughter. He'd reorganized his businesses to be more legitimate, wanting to give Gia a safer future. Zara had opened her own dance studio teaching fusion styles. "What are you thinking?" Hyunwoo asked, noticing her reflection. That the doctors were wrong. "You're not broken. You just needed the right woman to bring you back to life." He came to her, wrapping his arms around her waist, their daughter balanced on his hip. "You didn't just bring me back to life. You gave me a reason to live. You, Gia, you're my entire world." Outside, Seoul glittered with lights. Inside, they had everything that mattered. Their love had defied medical impossibility, cultural differences, dangerous enemies, and societal judgment. Hyunwoo kissed her temple. "Thank you for taking a chance on a broken man. You were never broken. You were just waiting for me." And as Gia giggled, reaching for both parents, they knew their story was just beginning. We've reached the conclusion of our compelling African-Korean story. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that prove love can heal the deepest wounds. Share this with someone who needs to believe in second chances. Your support means everything to me. Comment below and tell us what part of this story touched your heart the most.